Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, we step together into another time, another place, a world long past, yet still alive in memory and imagination. It is a journey not into the noisy, gunslinging Wild West of movies, but into a softer, quieter West. A place where night falls slowly, where lanterns glow against wooden walls, and where voices murmur behind velvet curtains. This is not the West of shootouts, but the West of whispers. A West where women, often forgotten by history, shaped towns and carried untold stories in the stillness of evening. This, dear listener, is your history sleep story, a calm and relaxing historical bedtime story, created to help you drift into rest. As you listen, allow the past to open around you like a dream. Let its details, its sounds, and its imagery lull you gently towards sleep. Tonight, the story is called Life as a Brothel Worker in the Wild West. Together, we will enter the dusty streets of a frontier town and walk quietly into one of its parlor houses. We will see, we will listen, we will imagine, but always slowly, always gently. Before we begin, take a moment to settle yourself where you are. Let your body find comfort in the bed. Let your head rest fully against the pillow. You do not need to hold anything up. The bed is here to support you, just as the earth once supported the footsteps of those who walked the wooden sidewalks of frontier towns. Take a slow, deep breath in, and now release it, long and easy. With each breath, let the present moment grow lighter. Imagine your worries and your thoughts as small grains of dust lifting into the prairie wind carried far away. The West we are about to enter is gentle. It is not rushed. It is not demanding. It unfolds like a soft song in the background. It is the 1800s, a time of wooden towns rising along the edge of great plains and mountains. Picture the setting sun painting the horizon in shades of deep orange and violet. The boardwalks creak beneath heavy boots, horses shuffle their hooves in the dust, and lanterns are lit one by one, casting golden halos of light into the night. Among these wooden towns are saloons, hotels, general stores, and, tucked quietly on certain corners, houses of red light. In these houses, women lived and worked. Their lives were not simple, but they were rich with detail. Silks and corsets, laughter muted by tiredness, voices lowered to a whisper, the strength of survival hidden behind painted smiles. They were not merely background figures of history. They were women with names, faces, and dreams, carving out lives in a world that gave them little space. Tonight, you will walk quietly into one of these houses. You will not rush. You will not disturb. You will simply step into their world, observing the life they built and the rhythms of their nights. You will walk the wooden hallway, notice the glow of a lantern against wallpaper, hear the muffled piano from the saloon below, and perhaps catch the sound of boots on the stairs. This is a world rarely described in calm detail, but tonight we will linger in it gently. Take another deep breath now. Inhale slowly. Pause for a heartbeat, and release. As you exhale, imagine the day fading. Your muscles soften, your shoulders drop, and your mind grows quieter. Each breath carries you deeper into calm, and each word of this story leads you further away from today's weight. Now picture yourself in the middle of a frontier town. The evening has fallen, the air is cooler, carrying the faint sense of pine wood, pipe smoke, and the dryness of the earth. The saloon doors swing as men step in and out, laughter rising and fading. Horses wait, tied along the posts. Farther down the street, a red lamp glows faintly in a window. That lamp signals the brothel. That glow is where the story begins. You will not only watch this world, you will also enter it through the eyes of a woman who once lived here. Through her, you will see what it was like to dress by candlelight, to brush powdered cheeks in a small cracked mirror, to greet strangers with practiced warmth. Through her, you will understand the balance of hardship and resilience, the mix of weariness and courage, the small comforts found in friendship among women who shared the same life. This perspective will not be loud or heavy. It will be gentle, like a slow breath, unfolding at a pace that calms you. The story does not belong to one woman alone. It belongs to many who lived in towns like Deadwood, Dodge City, and Tombstone. Women who built lives in places of dust and lantern light. Their footsteps may be long gone, but tonight we will hear them again. Not as echoes of hardship, but as soft reminders of the human presence in history. Feel your body resting deeper now. Breathe in again and breathe out. Your thoughts may drift, and that is perfectly fine. The story is here to hold you, even as your mind begins to float. The voices of the past will guide you, but they will never demand your full attention. You are free to listen lightly or to let the words blur into dreams. Time bends as you listen. The present slips away. You are no longer here in your room. You are stepping onto the wooden sidewalk of a frontier street. Lanterns flicker above you, the stars stretch endlessly overhead, and the soft hum of music floats from the saloon. You walk slowly toward the red lamp glowing in the window. The sound of your footsteps joins the rhythm of the night. This is where your journey begins. Tonight you are safe. Tonight you are calm. Tonight you are ready to enter a softer version of the Wild West, a place where history unfolds not as noise, but as a lullaby. Allow the story to carry you. Allow it to soothe you. The past is opening before you, and you are welcome to step inside. The journey begins now. The year drifts somewhere in the late 1800s. Imagine the land before you, a horizon that stretches endlessly, where prairies meet rugged mountains and rivers carve their patient lines through the earth. The West is not a single place, but many landscapes stitched together. Deserts that glow red under the sun, rolling plains covered in grass that shimmers like gold in the wind, pine-covered hillsides where the scent of resin clings to the air. Each town that rose here seemed almost temporary, a wooden outpost standing bravely against the vastness of the wilderness. As you picture this world, let yourself breathe in its spaciousness. Inhale slowly, as though you are taking in the wide prairie air. Exhale gently, letting your body settle further into rest. The Wild West was often portrayed as a loud, restless place, but if you listen closely, it is also filled with stillness. The hush of wind moving across dry land, the slow creak of a wagon wheel, the sound of boots crunching softly on wooden boards. These quiet moments carried people through their days, just as much as the noise of saloons or the clang of blacksmiths. Picture a frontier morning. The sun rises early, painting the sky in shades of rose and gold. Smoke drifts from cabin chimneys. Roosters call, their voices mixing with the soft whinny of horses tied at the hitching posts. Merchants open their doors, sweeping dust from wooden floors, arranging shelves of cloth, soap, and tin goods brought in by wagon or train. Children chase each other along the dirt streets, kicking up small clouds as they play. Behind the busyness lies a rhythm, steady and unhurried. Life was shaped by daylight, by the turning of seasons, and by the long shadows cast each evening. Travellers arrived often, miners with picks slung across their shoulders, soldiers in worn uniforms, settlers hoping for land, gamblers with cards hidden in their coats. They came on horseback, in stagecoaches, or walking by foot, drawn by promises of work or by whispers of gold. Each arrival added a new layer to the town, and with it came needs. Places to eat, places to drink, places to sleep, and places to find comfort. Out of these needs, brothels quietly grew, tucked among saloons and hotels, never truly hidden, yet spoken of with a kind of hush. The nights in these towns were long, but they held a particular beauty. As the sun fell, lanterns flickered to life. Their golden glow spilled across porches and windows, softening the hard edges of the wooden buildings. Stars stretched wide above, brighter than most of us can imagine today, for the sky was unbroken by electric light. You might imagine yourself standing on the edge of town, looking up at that sky, breathing in the cool desert or prairie air. The town hums faintly behind you. Piano keys from a saloon, voices rising in laughter, the shuffle of boots in the dirt. All around is space, silence, and the steady rhythm of the earth. As you picture this world, let your thoughts slow with it. The Wild West was built on patience. Days were long, journeys were slow. A rider might travel for hours without meeting another soul. A miner might spend months digging through rock for a single glint of gold. The world asked its people to move at its pace, not faster. And tonight you too can move at that slower pace. There is no rush here. The story will unfold gently, step by step, breath by breath. In this wider world of the frontier, life held both harshness and beauty. But for our story, we will linger in its softer moments. The way lamplight glowed on wooden walls. The way voices softened in conversation. The way music drifted through open doors into the cool night air. This is the West you are walking into now. A West that holds you in calmness, even as history unfolds quietly around you. Take one more deep, steady breath. Inhale as though you are standing among the tall prairie grasses. Exhale as though you are watching the lanterns being lit one by one along a quiet town street. You are ready now to leave the open horizon and step closer toward one town in particular, a place where the story narrows, where the details become richer, and where your journey will truly begin. Now let us enter the town itself. Imagine the crunch of your steps on the dirt road as you approach. Wooden buildings rise along each side, false fronts tall and straight, giving an air of permanence, even though many of these towns were built quickly, with boards that still smell of fresh-cut pine. Store signs swing gently in the breeze. A general store with barrels stacked outside. A barber's pole turning lazily. A saloon with swinging doors open to laughter and music. As you walk, notice the details. The windows are small and flickering with lamplight. Horses wait patiently. Reins looped around hitching posts, their tails swishing at flies. A dog trots across the street, disappearing into an alley. Women in long skirts step carefully over the dusty ground, while men in wide-brimmed hats lean against posts, smoking pipes and watching the night unfold. The town feels alive but not rushed. Its rhythm is measured, as though each moment is stretched long by the vastness of the land around it. Down the street, slightly apart from the others, stands a house with curtains drawn. In the window glows a lamp, its shade coloured red, soft and warm against the darkness. This, you realize, is the brothel, not hidden, not advertised, but unmistakable in its quiet signal. It is a 2-story wooden house, its paint worn by weather, yet its windows trimmed neatly. The porch is swept clean, lanterns hung carefully, as though those within wanted to offer not scandal, but welcome. Inside, the air is warmer, touched with the scent of perfume and smoke. The furnishings are simple but chosen to comfort. Plush chairs, patterned rugs, velvet curtains that soften the light. A piano might play faintly in the parlour, its notes drifting like lullabies through the rooms. The women who live here move with practiced grace, their gowns catching the lamplight, their laughter low and easy, their voices carrying the weight of resilience. This house is more than a workplace. For many, it is a refuge, a place of shelter, companionship and survival in a world that often gave them little kindness. Here, the story begins to shift from your eyes to hers, the perspective of a woman who lives within these walls. Perhaps she is young, having arrived by train from the east, her hopes tangled with necessity. Perhaps she is older, experienced, someone who has seen towns rise and fall. For tonight, she will be your guide. Through her, you will see the quiet details of this life, the lace gloves she pulls on with care, the lamp she trims before dusk, the laughter she shares with the other women as they prepare for another night. But do not think of hardship now. Think of calm. Think of the quiet moments between work, the brushing of hair before a mirror, the sound of a kettle warming on the stove, the slow drift of voices late at night when the house grows still. These are the details we will linger on, for they soothe and steady the heart. You have stepped through the doorway now, and the world outside fades into quiet. The saloon's noise is distant, softened by walls and velvet curtains. Here inside there is warmth, lamplight, and a rhythm as steady as your own breath. This is where your journey will continue. This is the life of a brothel worker in the Wild West. Not loud, not rushed, but unfolding softly, as though each detail were meant to cradle you into deeper rest. Take another deep breath. Let it out slowly. You are safe here. You are welcome here. The story will continue, and you will drift gently with it, step by step, deeper into calm. You step softly into the quiet harbour of the ancient city. The day's noise already faded into a deep and restful hush. The air is cool and tinged with salt, drifting from the great body of water before you. Wooden ships, their masts swaying, gently rise against the dimming sky like silent guardians of distant journeys. You hear the faint creak of ropes pulling against weathered wood, and every so often a gull calls from the shadows, its voice echoing over the calm expanse. The stone walkway beneath your feet feels worn smooth, as though countless travellers, before you had walked this very path, merchants with heavy loads, fishermen returning with their catch, and pilgrims coming from faraway lands. Now, however, you walk in stillness, with only the glow of lanterns guiding your steps. Each flame flickers inside its small bronze casing, throwing dancing shadows against the walls. The light is gentle, never harsh, illuminating your way like soft stars fallen to earth. Far out upon the water, the surface shimmers in long ribbons of silver as the moon begins its slow climb. The world feels suspended between day and night, between memory and dream. Every sound is slower here, stretched out like a lullaby. The lap of water against the hulls, the distant murmur of men finishing their work, and the soft shuffle of your own steps. This harbour, once bustling with voices, now offers only calmness, as if it too is preparing for rest. Not far ahead, you notice a figure walking the same path, moving with quiet intention. He is young, carrying a small bundle of scrolls tied carefully with cord. His robe, though simple, bears the faint stains of ink at the sleeves, and in his steady movements there is a hint of practiced ritual. This is Alaric, a scribe of the city, one who spends his days among words and symbols, recording the life of his people so it may live beyond them. He pauses near the edge of the docks, his gaze resting on the water. The moonlight glitters across the surface, catching his tired but thoughtful eyes. You stand a little apart, watching him as if from both within the scene and from beyond it. The calmness he carries reflects back upon you, and for a moment, it is as if your breath matches his. Slow, deep, steady. Alaric lifts one scroll from his bundle and unties it, letting the parchment roll open just enough to catch the lantern light. His lips move in silence, repeating words to himself, perhaps fragments of poetry or records he must preserve. His work is not hurried. It never is. Each symbol he learns, each phrase he memorizes, is a small anchor against the vast tides of forgetting. Watching him, you sense how the quiet duties of one person can become the heartbeat of an entire civilization. You move closer to the water, and the air thickens with the scent of tar, hemp, and the faint sweetness of spices once stored in cargo holds. Somewhere nearby, the echo of a hammer rings as a shipwright finishes his day's repair, but even that sound is softened by distance, becoming a gentle rhythm against the night. Lanterns continue to sway in the faint breeze, their light stretching across the polished surface of the water. One vessel, tied to the dock, creaks louder than the rest, and Alaric steps closer to touch its wooden side, as though greeting an old friend. Ships like this, you realize, carry not only goods, but also stories. Stories of far-off lands, unknown. Tongues and travelers who cross entire oceans to bring silk, grain, or rare stones. And while these stories may never all be told aloud, Alaric, with his ink and his scrolls, ensures that their echoes will not fade entirely. The harbour grows quieter still. The few workers who remained slip away, their footsteps fading into the distance. You feel the air cool against your skin, the kind of cooling that draws you inward, asking you to rest. Yet at the same time, there is wonder in this stillness, a beauty in the way the city seems to pause and breathe. Alaric sets down his bundle on a stone bench near the water and begins to write. The motion of his hand is slow, deliberate, like the rising and falling of tides. He dips his reed pen into the small vial he carries, the ink black and glistening beneath the moonlight. You cannot see the words he shapes, but you can sense them, measured, careful, flowing in a rhythm as ancient as speech itself. Each line seems to say, remember this, carry this forward, let no night erase it. Standing nearby, you take in the view again, the open horizon, the curved silhouettes of ships, the gentle rise of the moon. It feels eternal, as if this harbour has existed long before you and will remain long after, always welcoming weary travellers into its calm embrace. The world slows to match the pace of your breath, and with each inhale, the harbour's peace flows through you. Alaric pauses in his writing and looks up once more at the sky. Stars are beginning to emerge, faint but patient, their light delicate as silk threads woven through darkness. You follow his gaze, letting your eyes rest upon the heavens. The more you look, the more stars you notice, until the sky is softly crowded with them. Each one shines quietly, no brighter than necessary, as if they too wish to lull the earth into gentle sleep. The harbour is now fully given over to night. The voices are gone, the movement stilled, and the air carries only the lightest sounds, the whisper of wind, the lapping of water, the faint scratch of pen against parchment. You realize how rare such silence can be, and you allow it to wrap around you like a cloak, protecting you from the weight of the day. Alaric rolls his scroll closed, ties it neatly once more, and gathers his bundle. His work, though unfinished, is set aside with patience, for he knows that time itself will bring him back to it. He begins to walk again, and you follow, your steps slow and unhurried. Together, you leave the water behind, carrying with you its calm rhythm, as though the tide itself has entered your breath. And as you move toward the heart of the city, the harbour fades gently into memory, becoming not a place you are leaving, but a dream you now carry. You leave the harbour behind, your steps following Alaric as he makes his way along the stone streets of the ancient city. The sound of the sea lingers faintly in your ears, like a distant lullaby, but slowly it softens into silence, replaced by the muted hush of the town itself. The lanterns grow more frequent here, their golden light spilling in pools across the narrow alleys. Each flame sways gently in the evening breeze, throwing long, soft shadows that shift across the walls of shuttered houses and shops. Soon, the path widens, opening into the marketplace, a place that only hours ago would have been alive with chatter, bargaining, and laughter. You can almost hear the echoes of it still, as if the stones beneath your feet remember the day's noise. But now the square is hushed, its stalls empty, their awnings tied down for the night. The wooden tables bear the faint marks of use, scratches from coins, stains from spilled oil or wine, tiny chips where jars once rested. Yet in the quiet of the evening, even these marks seem softened, transformed into signs of a city that has worked and now rests. Alaric slows his pace, his bundle of scrolls tucked under one arm, and gazes around the empty square. He knows these stalls well, for he has often sat at their edges to record what was sold, who came and went, and what tales they brought from beyond the city walls. To him, every merchant's call and every coin's clink is part of the history he strives to preserve. Tonight, though, he does not write. He simply stands still, breathing in the cool air, allowing the silence to wash over him. You wander a little, letting your eyes travel across the marketplace. The air carries faint scents that linger from the day. A trace of spices, sharp and warm, the earthy sweetness of dried figs, the faint salt of cured fish once displayed in baskets. Even the scent of smoke from extinguished cooking fires clings to the stones, as though the ground itself has absorbed the memory of meals shared and sold here. The moonlight, slipping past the rooftops, settles gently upon the square. It paints the stalls in silver, casting delicate outlines of fabric and wood. Some lanterns remain, left burning low for the night watchmen who will pass through before dawn. Their dim light mingles with the moon's glow, wrapping the space in a soft, dreamlike hue. Alaric takes a seat on the edge of a stone well at the centre of the square. He unties one scroll but does not open it fully. Instead, he runs his fingers along the parchment as though tracing thoughts that only he can see. Perhaps he recalls the voices of merchants from earlier in the day, the way they called out their wares, each trying to draw attention. A spice seller speaking of cinnamon carried across seas, a cloth merchant boasting of dyes as bright as the setting sun, a potter laughing as he balanced a jar upon his head to show its strength. Now, though, those voices have faded, and what remains is peace. You sense how places hold both energy and stillness, and how both are equally necessary. By day, the market beats like a heart, full of movement. By night, it breathes deeply, resting until morning returns. You walk slowly along the stalls, running your hand lightly across the edges of wood worn smooth from use. Your fingers trace the small grooves, each one a mark of countless transactions, of countless hands that have come and gone. It is as if, by touching them, You are connected to the many lives that pass through this square. Fishermen, farmers, travelers, children tugging at their parents' sleeves. They all belong to this place, just as you do in this moment. Alaric watches you quietly, then smiles faintly, as if he understands the wonder of walking here at night. He rises and joins you, his steps matching your slow pace. Together, you circle the square, pausing now and then to look at the quiet stalls. He does not speak, and neither do you, yet there is no need for words. The silence itself is a kind of conversation, one that says, "We are here, we are safe, and this night belongs to us." Above, the stars have grown brighter, their light now scattered generously across the sky. The constellations would have been familiar to people of this city long ago, guiding their journeys by land and sea. Alaric tilts his head upward, studying them for a moment, perhaps thinking of the stories that once accompanied those stars, the myths of gods and heroes, the lessons carried in the shapes of light. He may write them down one day, ensuring they live beyond memory. But tonight he simply gazes, content in the quiet wonder of the sky. As you continue walking, the soft wind stirs the awnings of the stalls. The fabric shifts and sighs like sails in miniature, as though even the marketplace is dreaming of distant voyages. You let the sound settle into your ears, repeating gently, rhythmically, until it becomes as steady as a lullaby. Finally, Alaric pauses at the far end of the square, where a narrow street begins its winding path toward the temple district. He rests his scrolls again, just for a moment, and breathes deeply. You join him, and together you take in the marketplace one last time. Its stalls resting like sleepers, its stones glowing beneath moonlight, its silence alive with memory. There is no rush to leave, but when you do, you carry with you the stillness of this place. It lingers within, like a quiet companion, softening your thoughts and slowing your breath. And as you follow Alaric into the narrow street, the marketplace remains behind you, not gone, but gently folded into the dream of this night. You leave the marketplace behind, its silence gently folding into memory, and step into a narrower street. The stone pathway curves slowly upward, as though guiding you towards something sacred. Alaric walks beside you, the bundle of scrolls resting against his shoulder, his steps measured and calm. The air here feels different, cooler, touched with faint traces of incense carried on the wind. The temple district lies ahead, a place where the city holds its deepest sense of reverence. Even at this late hour, when doors are closed and worshippers have gone home, the district seems awake in its own way, hushed but alive, like a great being breathing softly in sleep. The narrow street opens into a broad avenue lined with carved pillars. Each pillar stands tall and still, etched with symbols that catch the moonlight in soft glimmers. Some show figures of gods, their outlines softened by time. Others bear patterns of vines and stars, motifs that seem to link earth and sky. You pause a moment to study them, your fingertips brushing across the cool stone. The carvings feel both ancient and eternal, as if they have always been here, holding silent watch over countless generations. Alaric lingers near one pillar, his hand resting lightly on its surface. "These stones," he whispers, though his voice is almost too soft to hear, "hold stories older than our city. Each symbol is a fragment of memory, waiting to be read." He does not speak further, but his reverence is clear, and you share in the quiet awe that the place inspires. As you move further along the avenue, the faint sound of footsteps echoes ahead. They are slow and steady, belonging to the night patrol. Soon, 2 watchmen come into view, their torches casting warm circles of light against the pale stone walls. They walk with calm purpose, their pace unhurried, as though their duty is less about guarding and more about accompanying the night itself. When they pass, one inclines his head slightly, acknowledging you and Alaric with quiet courtesy. The gesture feels timeless, a small ritual of respect carried through countless nights. You watch the flicker of their torches fade into the distance, leaving the avenue once again bathed in moonlight. The silence that follows is deeper, as though the night itself has drawn a soft breath. You find comfort in it, the way each sound seems amplified in the stillness. The whisper of wind against stone, the faint rustle of leaves in a hidden courtyard, the low coo of a night bird perched nearby. At the end of the avenue, the great steps of the temple rise slowly before you. They are broad and shallow, designed for ritual processions rather than haste. Each step carries the wear of countless feet that have ascended in devotion. Tonight they are empty, glowing faintly under the touch of moonlight. Alaric pauses at the base, setting his scrolls carefully on the stone ledge. He looks up at the temple's facade, a towering wall adorned with reliefs of gods and guardians. In the dim light, the figures appear almost alive, their forms shifting gently with each flicker of shadow. You feel no fear, only a deep sense of calm, as though the temple itself is watching over the city, guarding its people through the night. You and Alaric ascend together, your steps slow and deliberate. With each rise, the sounds of the city fade further, until all you hear is the quiet rhythm of your breath and the soft brush of sandals against stone. At the top, the temple courtyard spreads wide, enclosed by walls yet open to the sky. A single brazier burns at its center, its flames steady and low, perfuming the air with a subtle sweetness. The temple doors remain closed, but even without entering, the sanctity of the place surrounds you. The walls hold the scent of incense, the faint warmth of sun absorbed during the day, and the weight of prayers spoken here for centuries. It feels as though time itself slows within the courtyard, the night stretching gently, offering space for reflection. Alaric lowers himself onto a stone bench near the brazier, setting his scrolls beside him. He gazes into the flame, his expression serene, as though the fire's quiet glow carries him into thought. You join him, sitting close enough to feel the gentle warmth radiating through the cool night air. Together, you watch the flame dance slowly, its movement steady and hypnotic. The stars above seem sharper here, framed by the temple's walls. You let your eyes drift upward, tracing constellations against the dark expanse of sky. Perhaps you see the same figures the ancients once saw, a hunter, a ship, a great bird in flight. Perhaps the stars mean something different to you, carrying your own quiet stories. Either way, the sight settles you, reminding you of how vast and timeless the night truly is. A hush deeper than silence fills the courtyard, a calm that seems to seep into your very bones. You breathe it in slowly, and with each breath your body grows lighter, your thoughts gentler. You feel connected, not only to this place, but to all who have ever sat here in the stillness of night, gazing into the same flames, the same stars. Alaric eventually speaks, his voice low and even. One day, these walls may crumble, and the flames may burn elsewhere, but the night will always remain. And we, like those before us, are but its quiet guests. His words linger softly, not as a lesson, but as a lullaby of thought. You remain in the courtyard for a while longer, letting the calm embrace you fully. The brazier burns steadily, the stars watch silently, and the temple stands eternal. When you finally rise, gathering yourself for the walk back down the steps, you do so with a sense of peace as steady as the flame. As you and Alaric descend, the city's quiet reaches out to meet you once more. The avenue lies waiting, the pillars standing tall, the watchman somewhere in the distance. The night itself seems endless, yet soothing, carrying you deeper into its embrace. And with each step, you know, this journey is not only through a city of stone and temples, but through the gentle corridors of memory, where silence and history walk hand in hand. From the quiet temple steps, you and Alaric drift once more into the avenues of the sleeping city. The stone underfoot feels cool now, as though the warmth of day has fully ebbed away, leaving only the soft touch of night. The air carries with it a faint flowing sound, the steady murmur of water. Guided by that gentle call, your steps lead you toward the river. The city opens slowly as you near the water. The narrow lanes give way to a broad embankment, paved in wide slabs of stone. The moon shines upon it with silver light, spreading across the river's surface in shimmering ripples. You pause there, letting your eyes rest on the sight. The river glides endlessly forward, patient and unhurried, as though it has always known its course. Alaric lingers beside you, his scrolls tucked once more beneath his arm. The river, he murmurs, is the city's oldest companion. Long before walls were raised, before temples stood, the river was here, carrying life along its banks. His words float into the night like another ripple on the water, soft and unforced. You begin to walk along the riverside path, the stones uneven beneath your steps yet grounding in their solidity. Torches burn here and there, though most have gone out, leaving pools of shadow between the patches of light. In those shadows the night deepens, yet it does not feel forbidding. Instead, it feels like the gentle fold of a cloak, wrapping you in calm secrecy. The scent of the river rises around you, earthy and cool, mingled with faint traces of reeds and blossoms carried downstream. A nightbird calls once from the far bank, then falls silent again, leaving only the soft sound of water against stone. Each detail seems to settle into rhythm, weaving a lullaby that stretches across the night. At a small landing, you notice boats moored quietly, their hulls rocking ever so slightly in the current. Some are slender fishing vessels, others broad merchant barges, all resting now beneath the moonlight. Their ropes creak softly against wooden posts, a sound both delicate and reassuring. You imagine how, at dawn, these boats will awaken with the city, carrying their passengers into the flow of day. But for now, they dream upon the water, cradled by the river's patient arms. Alaric slows his pace, pausing near one boat whose sail is furled neatly against the mast. He runs a hand over the wooden side, tracing grooves worn by years of use. These boats, he says softly, are more than vessels. They are bridges of time, carrying stories, carrying people, carrying memory. His tone is quiet, almost drowsy, as though he too feels the river's spell of stillness. You continue onward together, following the bend of the embankment. The path narrows, bringing you closer to the water itself. Here you can see reflections more clearly, the moon shimmering like liquid silver, the stars dancing in fragments across the surface. The sight holds you, hypnotic and slow, as though the river is showing you a softer version of the sky. A small breeze stirs, brushing gently against your face. It ripples through the reeds along the bank, making them sway and whisper in unison. The sound is like a secret spoken only to the night, hushed and tender. You breathe in deeply, filling your lungs with the freshness of river air. It feels as though each breath carries away the weight of the day, leaving only a lightness that grows with every step. At a quiet alcove, you and Alaric find a stone bench carved into the embankment wall. You sit together, the cool stone grounding you, while the river continues its endless course before your eyes. Alaric places his scrolls beside him, resting his hands loosely on his knees. He gazes across the water, his profile soft in the moonlight. "The river has seen everything," he says at last, his words almost blending with the sound of the current. "Empires rise and fall, but the river flows on. Lovers have walked here, kings have prayed here, children have laughed here, and still the water moves forward, untroubled by time." His voice trails into silence, not demanding an answer, only offering a thought to drift upon. You let the silence settle. The river seems to stretch endlessly in both directions, vanishing into shadow where banks and stars merge. In that endlessness, you feel not small but safe, like a single ripple carried gently within the great tide of history. The river's calm becomes your calm, each sound a reminder of continuity, of patience, of quiet strength. As you sit, you notice how the stars above seem mirrored in the water below, as though you were surrounded by two skies, one above, one beneath. The world feels doubled, softened, as if caught between dream and waking. Perhaps this is what the ancients meant when they called rivers sacred. A place where earth meets heaven in reflection, a threshold between realms. Alaric leans back against the stone, his eyes half closed. You sense his weariness, not heavy, but the gentle kind that comes after a long day of work and walking. He seems content simply to sit, to breathe, to be. His presence, steady and quiet, is a comfort, like a companion who knows that words are not always needed. The minutes pass unnoticed. Perhaps it is longer, perhaps only a little while. Time feels different here by the river, stretched thin and slow. Each ripple marks its passage, yet each ripple looks the same as the last, endless and eternal. When you finally rise from the bench, you feel restored by stillness itself. The river continues to flow, whispering softly against the banks. You walk again with Alaric, your steps unhurried, your mind quieter than before. The embankment curves away, leading back toward the sleeping streets, and yet the sound of the river stays with you, lingering like a lullaby in your thoughts. As you leave its banks behind, you realize that the river has given you more than a path to walk. It has given you a rhythm of peace, a reminder of how even the ceaseless flow of life can feel gentle when embraced at the right pace. The night deepens, the city awaits, but the calm of the river remains within you, flowing as steadily as the water itself. The city has grown quiet now. Where moments ago the marketplace was filled with voices and footsteps, now the streets are hushed, wrapped in the soft embrace of night. Lanterns sway faintly in the breeze, their flames dimming as shutters close one by one. The world is not asleep, not yet, but it drifts in that in-between state where life softens and the air itself feels drowsy. You and Alaric walk slowly, your steps unhurried. The stones beneath your feet are cool now, having released the warmth of the day back into the evening sky. Each footfall is gentle, echoing faintly against the high walls. There is no rush. The silence welcomes you deeper, guiding you away from the crowded streets toward the palace that rises in the distance. The palace does not shout its presence. It does not demand attention the way the marketplace did, nor does it glitter with loudness. Instead, it waits in quiet dignity, its outlines softened by moonlight. From afar, you see its arches, its tall gates, and the faint glimmer of white stone that catches the stars. The air grows cooler as you approach, carrying with it the faint fragrance of night-blooming flowers. Jasmine, perhaps, or lily, growing unseen in hidden gardens. When you reach the gates, they stand tall and heavy, carved with patterns so delicate they seem almost alive. Intricate vines and shapes spiral across the wood, as if the craftsman wished to weave eternity into its surface. The gates are open tonight, not wide, but enough to invite passage. They seem less like a barrier and more like a threshold, an invitation to step into quietness itself. As you cross beneath them, the sound changes. The city's faint rustles fade behind you, and ahead is only stillness. A courtyard spreads before you, spacious and calm. Its flagstones glimmer faintly, kissed by moonlight, while in the center a fountain rests. By day, it may have sent water sparkling into the air, but now it offers only the gentlest trickle. The sound is soft, rhythmic, almost like a breath. You pause for a moment, letting the quiet water song seep into your body. Each drop feels as though it washes away a fragment of wakefulness, carrying it into the pool below. Alaric's voice comes quietly, low and measured. He tells you that such fountains were once more than decorations. They were sacred symbols, representations of life in lands where water meant survival. To sit by a fountain was to remember abundance, to honor what the earth had given. Kings and queens, nobles and priests, all had lingered by these waters at night, listening not just with their ears, but with their hearts. The rhythm was a meditation, a way of grounding the spirit. His words, spoken slowly, seemed to merge with the fountain's trickle, until you cannot tell where voice ends and water begins. You move deeper into the courtyard, passing beneath a line of colonnades. The columns are tall, their surfaces pale in the moonlight, each one casting long shadows that stripe the ground. Torches flicker faintly in iron brackets, but their light does not compete with the moon. Instead, the two glows blend together, warm gold with cool silver, painting the air with a harmony of tones. The breeze drifts through the arches, carrying with it the faintest whisper of leaves from the hidden gardens within. Alaric gestures toward the walls where faded frescoes linger. Though the colours have softened with centuries, the shapes remain. You see kings offering prayers by the river, harvests gathered beneath the gaze of the gods, and figures in procession carrying lanterns not unlike your own. He explains that once these walls were radiant, painted with such brilliance that they seemed to move. Musicians played here, their notes dancing in the air while servants carried torches. Now, only fragments remain, but even in fading there is beauty. The silence has preserved their dignity. As you walk, the palace reveals another side of itself, not only grandeur, but gentleness. The halls open into a walled garden, and as you step inside, the fragrance greets you first. Jasmine, roses, lotus, flowers open not for daylight, but for the cool touch of night. Their perfume drifts upward in soft waves, never overwhelming, only soothing. Moonlight falls freely here, turning every leaf into silver, every blossom into a lantern of its own. A stone path winds around a pool where lotus flowers float, their petals half closed. The water reflects the stars so that it seems as though two skies exist, one above, one beneath. The night insects hum softly, their music forming a lullaby for the blossoms. You walk slowly, taking in each breath, the cool fragrance calming your body with every step. Alaric's voice returns, steady as before. He tells you that the keepers of such gardens were once revered, not merely as caretakers of plants, but as guardians of harmony. To cultivate a garden was to balance the world itself. to arrange stones, trees, and flowers so that the heart might rest. To walk through such a place at night was an act of prayer, wordless yet powerful. And in this moment, you feel it too. The prayer that exists in silence, in fragrance, in reflection. The longer you wander, the slower your steps become. The palace is vast, yet you are in no hurry to reach its end. Each turn, each archway, each fountain invites you to pause. The night stretches, not in urgency, but in stillness, holding you gently. Even the air feels softer, brushing your skin like a cool hand, urging you toward calm. You come to another courtyard, smaller this time. At its center rests a fountain even quieter than the last, its water so delicate it is almost hidden. You sit on a stone bench, the surface cool beneath you, and gaze into the rippling pool. The stars shimmer above, reflected faintly in the water, their light trembling with each drop that falls. Here, Alaric falls silent too. His presence is steady beside you, not pressing, not guiding, simply there. Together you watch the water, the stars, the shadows stretching long across the stone. Time seems to loosen its grip. Minutes or hours, it no longer matters. The palace holds you, its silence deeper than sleep, its shadows softer than dreams. The walls, the corridors, the fountains, each has absorbed centuries, each has become more than stone. They are memory itself, and you, sitting here, become part of that memory. The night folds around you, and the palace, though grand and ancient, feels not foreign but gentle, like a cradle made of stone and light. The longer you remain, the more the world outside seems to fade. The marketplace, the city streets, even the river, they belong to another time, another place. Here, within the palace of quiet shadows, there is only stillness, only reflection, only the sound of water falling into water, like breath flowing into breath. And in that stillness, your own thoughts grow lighter. You feel the weight of the day dissolve, leaving only calm. The palace does not ask you to think, only to rest. Its fountains do not demand attention, only to be heard. Its gardens do not overwhelm, only to soothe. Slowly, gently, the edges of your awareness soften, until it feels as though you are dissolving too, becoming part of the silence, part of the moonlight, part of the endless stillness of the night. The palace fades behind you, its quiet courtyards and shadowed gardens dissolving into the soft folds of the night. The air shifts as you step beyond its gates, carrying with it the faint coolness of water. Somewhere ahead lies the river, wide and patient, flowing as it has for centuries. Your feet find a path worn smooth by countless others before you. The earth beneath you is cool, dusted with the scent of clay and grass. On either side, reeds rise tall, swaying gently in the breeze. Their stalks rustle softly, a sound almost like whispers. It feels as though the night itself is speaking in a language too ancient to name. Alaric walks beside you, silent for now. His steps are measured, unhurried, carrying no urgency. The two of you move together, and in that shared quiet, the world feels balanced, as though every movement has already been prepared. Ahead, the path widens, and the moon reveals the water at last. The river stretches before you, silver in the moonlight. Its surface glimmers as though sprinkled with stars, each ripple carrying light further into the distance. You pause at the bank, listening. The sound is soft yet steady, the eternal murmur of water moving toward unseen horizons. It does not rush. It does not hurry. It flows with the patience of centuries, unbothered by the passing of time. You kneel at the edge, dipping your fingers lightly into the current. The water is cool, refreshing, alive. It glides over your skin and continues on its endless journey, carrying with it fragments of earth, fragments of light, fragments of history itself. Alaric tells you that rivers were always lifelines, giving not only water, but meaning. Along these banks, people built homes, raised children, traded goods, and offered prayers. The river remembers all of it. He points across to the opposite shore, where faint outlines of huts can be seen, their roofs rounded, their windows glowing dimly with firelight. Families gather there even now, perhaps sitting by their hearths, their voices low. Beyond them rise dark trees, their branches laced with silver light. And further still, hills roll softly into the horizon, blending with the sky. The landscape is vast, yet it feels quiet, gentle, and safe. You walk along the bank, following the water's edge. Each step brings a new sound, the crunch of sand beneath your feet, the soft hiss of water against stone, the occasional call of a night bird hidden in the reeds. Fireflies drift here, small golden sparks weaving in and out of the shadows. They blink slowly, like tiny lanterns floating above the grass. Their glow mingles with the stars reflected in the river, until it becomes difficult to tell where earth ends and sky begins. A boat rests nearby, tethered loosely to a wooden post. Its surface creaks gently with the current, rocking back and forth in time with the water. Alaric gestures toward it, and together you step inside. The boat sways under your weight, then steadies. When he pushes it free from the bank, the river receives you quietly, carrying the vessel into its broad embrace. The motion is slow, deliberate. The oars dip into the water with a sound like a sigh, propelling you further into the current. The river's rhythm cradles you, rocking gently, like the world itself lulling you toward calm. You lean back, letting the night open above you. The stars are brighter now, scattered thickly across the sky. They shimmer, ancient and patient, their light traveling across endless years to reach you here, in this moment of stillness. Alaric points upward, his voice low. He names the constellations as people of his time knew them, figures of gods, hunters, protectors. But then, his words soften into story. He tells you how travelers once looked to these very stars for guidance, reading their patterns to find the way home. He describes how priests studied them, seeking to understand the rhythm of the heavens, and how lovers too once gazed upward, weaving promises into the constellations. The boat drifts steadily, carried by the current. The water reflects the sky so perfectly that it feels as though you are floating not on a river, but between two infinities, one above, one below. Each ripple bends the stars slightly, making them dance and shimmer in a way no artist could ever capture. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the motion carry you. The cool air brushes your face. The smell of water and reeds surrounds you, soothing and clean. The gentle splash of oars mingles with the steady murmur of the river. It is all rhythm, breath, water, heartbeat, merging into one. Alaric speaks again, softer this time. He says that to his people, the river was a bridge between worlds. It was not merely water, but a passage connecting life with eternity. To step upon its banks was to touch the eternal, to remember that every life is carried by currents larger than itself. His words are not heavy, not demanding. They drift through the night like the boat itself, a reminder woven with gentleness. The boat slows as you near the center of the river. Alaric rests the oars and the current takes over, guiding you where it wishes. You lie back against the wooden seat, eyes drifting once more to the stars. Above, the constellations wheel in silence, eternal in their patterns. The moon glows bright, casting its reflection so perfectly that it seems you float upon a ribbon of silver. The world narrows to sensation alone, the rocking of the boat, the murmur of the water, the endless sweep of stars. Your breath slows without effort, deep and steady. Time loses its shape. The boat could drift for hours or only moments. Here, it does not matter. Gradually, the current carries you toward the far bank. Reeds gather once more, brushing softly against the sides of the boat. The air grows fragrant again with the scent of wet earth and grass. You step out, your feet sinking slightly into the soft soil. The ground is cool, grounding, reminding you gently of the earth beneath all things. A narrow path leads upward, away from the water. You follow it, climbing slowly. At the top of the rise, the land opens into a wide expanse. Before you stretches a quiet desert plain, its sands pale and smooth under the moon. The air here is cooler still, carrying a dry stillness that feels vast and endless. Each grain of sand glows faintly, reflecting the silver light, until the ground seems like another sky beneath your feet. The horizon stretches endlessly, broken only by scattered rocks and the faint outline of distant dunes. The desert hums with silence. Even the air seems to pause, holding its breath. Above, the stars shine sharper than ever, unclouded by trees or walls. The sky is a tapestry, infinite and dazzling. Alaric stands beside you, his cloak brushing the sand. His voice is little more than a murmur. He says that the desert was once seen as a place of testing, but also of peace. Kings came here to retreat, seeking answers not in words, but in silence. The stillness of the desert was thought to purify the heart, to strip away noise and leave only truth. You stand together beneath the vast sky. The world feels endless, yet not overwhelming. It holds you gently, as though you are part of its expanse. The stars shimmer, the sand glows faintly, and the silence deepens. Each breath you take is unhurried, filling you with calm. You lie down upon the sand, its surface cool and soft beneath you. The grains cradle your body, shifting to hold your shape. Above, the sky stretches forever. You feel as though you are floating once more, this time not upon a river, but upon the stars themselves. Every sound has quieted. There is only stillness, only breath, only the night, the desert, the river, the palace. They are all one, woven together by silence and time. And you, lying here beneath the endless stars, become part of that weaving too. Slowly, gently, your awareness softens, drifting like the boat upon the water, carried into a vast calm that has no beginning and no end. The night has settled more deeply now, the kind of quiet that feels almost eternal. You stand within the hushed stillness of a street that once brimmed with life. Long ago, the wooden doors along these walls opened and closed countless times, welcoming neighbors, ushering in laughter, perhaps even holding secrets whispered in confidence. Now they remain closed, yet you can almost imagine the faint echoes of those who once walked here. It is as though the stones beneath your feet have held on to every step, storing them gently, like memories waiting to be remembered. A breeze drifts slowly between the narrow alleys, soft and cool, carrying with it the suggestion of voices from long ago. You may imagine the sound of children's laughter, light and quick, bouncing between the walls as they ran and played, their feet kicking up dust beneath the same moon that shines tonight. You may hear the low murmur of traders finishing their day's work, the clatter of tools being packed away, the faint creak of a cart rolling home. Each sound is softened now, like a memory wrapped in mist, so gentle that it lulls rather than stirs. Though the streets are silent, there is still life in them. Every wall has been touched by hands long gone, every stone laid with care by workers whose names are forgotten but whose labor endures. You can almost trace those gestures in your imagination. The brush of a palm against sun-warmed brick, the steady rhythm of footsteps climbing a stair, the soft closing of a door after dusk. These are the details of lives once lived, moments so ordinary at the time, yet precious in their endurance across centuries. The stillness invites you to imagine those small, tender rhythms of daily life. A family gathering by the glow of a small oil lamp, the scent of bread carried on the night air from a nearby hearth, the hush of conversation as neighbors lingered outside, reluctant to end their day. All of it once real, now carried like faint perfume upon the air of memory. In this way, history becomes less about grand events and more about the ordinary, the very moments that mirror your own quiet evenings. As you walk further down the silent street, the moonlight spills more clearly, silvering the ground before you. The shadows stretch long and soft, and your own footsteps sound muted, as though the earth itself wishes to help you keep the peace of this place. You are not disturbing it. You are only listening, only bearing witness to its quiet persistence. The world around you seems to sigh in relief at being remembered, even if just for this moment. A cat might have prowled along this path once, its shape flickering in lamplight, eyes glowing in the dark. A mother might have hushed her baby to sleep behind one of these wooden doors, the gentle sway of her rocking almost visible in the stillness. A group of young workers might have lingered together at the street corner, sharing stories before parting ways. These fragments rise in your imagination, not as noise, but as softness. Reminders that the past was lived with the same rhythms of laughter, love and rest that fill human life even now. Though the city sleeps in silence, you are not alone. The memories that cling to these stones seem to walk with you. They do not weigh heavily, but rather like a gentle company, as though the shadows themselves remember. And as you take in the stillness, you may feel your own breath slow, your shoulders loosening, your body growing softer. Just as the past has settled into peace, so too can you settle, releasing the noise of the present day, easing into calm. There is something profoundly soothing in recognizing how lives once moved with a rhythm much like your own. The worries of their days have long since faded. The struggles that seemed so sharp have been smoothed into silence. What remains are traces of laughter, of warmth, of simple gestures. It reminds you that all things, whether joys or troubles, pass gently into memory, softened over time, leaving behind only the tender essence of being alive. As you pause in the middle of the street, you can almost hear a festival echoing from years past. Perhaps once, lanterns were strung above your head, swaying in the night breeze. Perhaps music spilled from an open door, notes from a stringed instrument, accompanied by voices lifted together. The faint glow of torches might have lit the way, shimmering along the walls and reflecting in the eyes of children watching in delight. Now all is quiet, but the memory lingers in the bones of this place. The air itself seems to carry the imprint of joy, softened now into a lullaby. It is easy to feel the weight of time here, but not in a burdensome way. The weight is gentle, like a heavy quilt laid across your body on a cool evening. It comforts, reminding you that you are part of something vast, something that stretches both behind and before you. Just as these people once lived, so do you now. And one day, your quiet moments too will become part of the great hush of memory. It is not a sorrowful thought, it is a calming one, for it means that nothing is truly lost. All of life finds a way to rest, to soften, to be held by time itself. The breeze passes once again, slower this time, as though the night is preparing to rest with you. The sky above holds steady, sprinkled with stars that have watched over countless lives. The same starlight that brushed the faces of those long ago now touches your own, tender and timeless. The silence deepens further, inviting you to release, to drift a little closer toward the edge of sleep, knowing you are surrounded by echoes not of loss, but of continuity, of belonging, of peace. You move further along the quiet street, and with every step the silence seems to deepen, as though the world is drawing a soft veil across itself. The air has cooled, and it carries the faintest scent of earth and wood, a reminder that the night is settling fully into its own rhythm. Ahead, the path widens into a small square, a place that once may have been the heart of community life. Now it is still, holding only the echo of what was. You pause there, letting the weight of time rest gently around you. It is in such places, when the world feels suspended between past and present, that history speaks most clearly. Not in words but in presence. The stones of the square have known countless feet. Farmers with baskets of grain, women with jugs of water balanced carefully against their hips, musicians tuning their instruments, filling the air with tentative notes before their songs began. Every step left an imprint, not visible to the eye, but somehow woven into the texture of the place. You may sense it now, as though the ground beneath your feet hums faintly with all that has been. Time does not erase so much as it softens. Think of how a piece of cloth, worn and handled for generations, becomes tender to the touch. The same is true of these spaces. The square, once bustling, is now quiet, yet the quiet is not emptiness. It is full of softened laughter, of stilled footsteps, of lives that have already found their peace. To stand here is to be reminded of the way everything, in the end, yields to gentleness. Even the hardest moments, when remembered across centuries, turn into something calm, something almost like a lullaby. You glance upward, and the moon is resting high above the square. Its glow touches the roofs and walls, making them seem less like solid structures and more like delicate outlines drawn in silver light. The shadows form long, soft shapes, as though they are guiding you inward, deeper into stillness. The stars scattered across the sky seem to lean closer, as though they too are remembering. The same stars that once looked down upon the laughter of a festival, the quiet tears of a worker returning home, the soft joy of a couple walking hand in hand. They are watching now, steady and eternal. There is comfort in knowing how small a moment truly is against the backdrop of centuries. The worries that seemed insurmountable to those who once stood here have melted into silence. The triumphs that filled hearts with pride have dissolved into memory. What remains is the steady rhythm of life itself, carried forward, softened, passed along. To reflect upon this is to feel yourself loosening from your own worries. They too will soften with time. They too will dissolve into something lighter. For now you do not need to carry them. You may set them down, here, in the square, and let the weight of time transform them into something gentler. You walk slowly across the open space, and the ground feels cool beneath your feet, steady and enduring. Perhaps once a market stall stood here, draped in fabrics that glimmered in the morning light. Perhaps a storyteller's voice carried across the square, weaving tales that made children's eyes grow wide. Perhaps the scent of spices or roasting bread once lingered in the air, mingling with laughter. All of that has passed, and yet in some way it is all still here. Your imagination fills in the gaps, and the night air carries it gently, like a whisper. As you pause again, you notice how your own breath matches the rhythm of the world around you, slow, unhurried, deep, in and out, like waves against a distant shore. It feels almost as though time itself is breathing with you. That is the weight of time. Not heavy, not overwhelming, but steady. A reminder that all things have a place within it. You are not separate from the past or the future. You are part of the same vast continuity. Just as these lives once moved through their days, so do you. And just as they have found their rest, so too will you. Perhaps a lantern once flickered at the edge of this square, guiding late wanderers back home. Perhaps the faint sound of a lullaby drifted from a window, a child slowly yielding to dreams. You can almost hear it, faint but soothing, carried to you through the stillness. It is not meant for you, yet it comforts you all the same, reminding you of the tenderness that has always existed within human life. That tenderness is not lost. It lingers in echoes, in whispers, in the way the night itself seems to cradle you now. Standing there, surrounded by silence, you feel yourself growing heavier, but in a peaceful way. Heavier, as though the ground is inviting you to sink into its embrace. Heavier as though your body is preparing to drift into sleep. The square around you feels timeless, a bridge between all that was and all that will be. And in this moment, you are exactly where you are meant to be, resting in the gentle arms of history, wrapped in the soft weight of time. The breeze stirs once more, slower now, almost like a sigh. It carries the scent of earth, the memory of fires long extinguished, the hush of voices no longer speaking. You let it wash over you. And with it comes an ease, a sense that nothing more is required of you tonight. All you need to do is rest, to listen, to breathe. The world has already slowed to a perfect stillness. You need only follow its lead. Above, the stars glimmer with a patience that feels endless. They will remain long after this night has passed, just as they remained long after the nights of those who came before. To look at them is to see the weight of time stretched endlessly, not as something pressing down, but as something holding you, steady and eternal. And under their light, you may feel yourself softening further, as though drifting slowly toward the edge of dreams. The road narrows as you leave the square, leading you into a quieter stretch where the night deepens even further. The air feels hushed, almost reverent, as though the world itself wishes not to disturb your thoughts. Each step you take is slower now, softened, as though your body understands that the journey is drawing to a close. There is no need to rush. Time stretches out, gentle and unhurried, as though eternity is walking alongside you. You glance to your left, and beyond a low wooden fence lies a small patch of earth, overgrown with grass and wildflowers. It may have once been a resting place, perhaps a graveyard, or simply a field where travelers stopped for a moment of quiet. Whatever its history, the air here feels sacred, filled with peace. The wildflowers tilt their faces toward the moonlight, glowing faintly, their petals trembling in the soft night breeze. They too are part of this story, living for only a season, yet rooted in soil that has known countless lives before. It is here, at the edge of the path, that you pause, for it seems that this is where the past wishes to whisper its final message to you. And so you stand still, breathing slowly, listening. At first, you hear only the quiet rhythm of your own breath. Then, gradually, you sense something more. An echo, not of voices exactly, but of presence. The sense that lives have passed here, and that they have come to rest. It is not sorrowful, not heavy. Instead, it is soft, like the hush of a lullaby. In this moment, you may reflect on what it means for everything to find its rest. The workers who once filled the streets, their labor complete, now folded into silence. The children who once laughed under the stars, their voices carried away by time, now part of memory's gentle fabric. The brothel workers, the saloon keepers, the gamblers, the lonely travellers, all who carried burdens and joys, all who longed for safety or warmth, all have found their rest. What was once struggle is now stillness. What was once noise is now quiet. And you too are invited into this eternal rhythm. You are not separate from it. You walk in the same flow of time, guided by the same stars, breathing the same air. To recognize this is to feel that nothing is ever truly lost. All experiences, all lives soften into the great tapestry of existence. Even the moments of difficulty, the long nights of waiting, the restless hours, all of it, in time, finds its peace. You tilt your head upward once more, and the sky has shifted. The moon, now higher, seems to glow with even greater gentleness, casting light that silvers the rooftops and softens the earth. Around it, the stars shimmer in their quiet patience, as though they have been waiting for this very pause. They remind you that the same heavens have looked down on every generation, offering light when the world was dark, and so they shine for you now, steady, unwavering, eternal. There is something deeply comforting in knowing that you share the same sky as those who walked before you. The same constellations that guided travelers across deserts and seas now shine above you. The same moonlight that once touched the worn wooden doors of saloons and brothels now rests on your face. The same night breeze that cooled tired shoulders now brushes across your skin. To realize this is to feel continuity, a reminder that even when everything else changes, the great cycles of the world endure. You close your eyes just for a moment and allow yourself to imagine the generations that came before. You picture their faces faint and blurred, softened by time, some smiling, some weary, some filled with hope, others with sorrow. Each one carrying their own story, their own small place in the tapestry of history. Each one eventually setting down their burdens, allowing themselves to rest. As you imagine them, you may sense that they are not gone, not truly. They linger in memory, in the spaces they once touched, in the breath of the earth itself. And so, standing at the edge of this quiet path, you may feel as though you are part of a great circle. All who lived before, all who live now, all who will live in the future, bound together, sharing in the rhythm of life, the inevitability of rest. The thought is not frightening. It is tender, even soothing. For to be part of such a circle is to know that you are never alone. You are carried within it, always. The breeze lifts once again, slower, softer, carrying with it the faintest scent of earth and grass. You breathe it in deeply, and as you do, you feel a release. Whatever you carried with you at the start of this journey, worries, thoughts, restless energy, has grown lighter with each step, each pause, each reflection. Now standing here, you feel as though you can set it all down. The ground accepts it. The night enfolds it. The stars watch over it. Nothing more is required of you. A hush falls over everything. The night itself seems to pause, waiting, listening, holding you in its embrace. You are safe here, safe in the arms of time, safe under the watching stars, safe in the continuity of life that stretches endlessly before and behind you. You are part of something vast and gentle, something eternal, and in that knowledge, you may allow yourself to drift fully into peace. You take one last slow breath, and with it comes the quiet certainty that you have reached the end of the journey. The streets, the square, the flowers, the sky, all of it is settling into silence. All of it is ready to let you go, guiding you softly into the realm of dreams. You need not hold on to anything. You may rest now, as countless others have rested before you. And so, under the watchful stars, You let yourself sink into stillness. The journey has carried you across memory and time, and now it has carried you here, to the threshold of sleep. You are safe. You are held. You are at peace. And as the world grows softer, you drift slowly, gently, into eternal rest. The journey is complete. The town of the Wild West, with its brothels lit by lamplight, its saloons echoing with laughter, its dusty streets and wooden sidewalks, slowly fades into the distance of memory. What once felt vivid and alive now becomes soft, blurred, like a dream at the edge of waking. You do not need to follow the streets anymore. You do not need to carry the images of the past. They fall gently away, as if lifted from you by the breeze of night. All that remains is stillness. All that remains is calm. And here, in this stillness, you are safe. You are at peace. Take in a slow, gentle breath. Feel it move through you like a quiet river, cool and refreshing. Exhale. And with that breath out, release everything you no longer need to hold. Thoughts, worries, memories, all slipping away. Each breath now is a reminder that you are allowed to let go, allowed to rest, allowed to surrender to the deep pull of sleep. Imagine yourself lying beneath a wide, endless sky. The stars above are countless, shimmering softly, steady in their glow. They have looked down upon every age, upon every story told and lived. And now, tonight, they look down upon you, guiding you not across the world, but inward, to the landscape of your own dreams. Your body is growing heavier with every breath. Your arms, your legs, your chest, all sinking into the surface that supports you. And as your body sinks, your mind floats, drifting, untethered, lighter than air. A balance of deep heaviness and gentle lightness carrying you toward rest. You may picture a warm, golden light beginning to glow above you. It descends slowly, tenderly, beginning at the crown of your head. Wherever it touches, it brings release. Your forehead smooths, your eyelids soften, your jaw unclenches, your shoulders let go of what they have carried. The light moves through you inch by inch, like a wave of comfort, until your whole body hums with ease. This light protects you. It wraps you in safety. Nothing can disturb you now. The world outside grows quiet, more distant with every breath. And the only thing that matters is the peace within you, the peace that guides you into sleep. The story has ended, but your journey continues into the quiet world of dreams. You may step across the threshold now, leaving behind the sounds and sights of history and entering the boundless silence of rest. You are safe. You are calm. You are deeply, deeply at peace. And with each word that drifts past you now, you are sinking further into sleep. The Wild West fades entirely now. The wooden boards of the brothel floors, the flicker of oil lamps, the murmurs of voices, all of it has dissolved into silence. There is nothing left to hold, nothing left to see, only darkness, vast and gentle, stretching in every direction like a quiet ocean at night. You float upon it as though resting on a calm sea. The waves do not rise or fall. They simply cradle you, keeping you suspended, weightless and free. With each breath, you feel yourself drifting farther and farther from the noise of the day. Every exhale carries you further away, until the distance is immeasurable, until all that surrounds you is peace. Above you, the stars remain, not the stars of history, nor of the past, but the eternal stars, watching as they always have. They are guardians of your rest. Their light is soft, steady, endlessly patient. One by one, their glow begins to blur, as if your vision itself is gently closing. Each star becomes a point of calmness, Each star whispers, rest, rest, rest. Your body is heavy now, impossibly heavy. It feels as if it has merged with the earth itself. There is no separation between you and the ground. You are held, secure, rooted. The earth cradles you in perfect safety, while your mind drifts freely, weightless as air. This dual sensation, rooted and free, still and floating, guides you ever deeper into sleep. Imagine a doorway now. It does not stand before you in wood or stone, but as a shimmer of light in the air. On one side is the waking world, memories, thoughts, images of the past. On the other side is the world of dreams, vast, endless, filled with calm and restoration. You do not need to open this doorway. It opens on its own as your breathing slows, as your body softens, and with the next breath, you step gently across. On this side, time does not matter. Hours, minutes, seconds, all dissolve. What matters is only the rhythm of your breath, steady and slow, carrying you deeper into your own rest. Each inhale fills you with calm. Each exhale releases the last remnants of the day. Nothing remains but peace. Perhaps you see a meadow of tall grasses, swaying in a breeze that does not disturb you, but carries you further into stillness. Perhaps you hear a river flowing slowly, its surface catching the faint shimmer of starlight. Perhaps you see nothing at all, only darkness, soft and complete. All is welcome. All is perfect. You are safe. You are calm. You are deeply, deeply at peace. As I repeat these words, they become softer, slower, like a lullaby that does not end but simply fades. With every repetition, you sink further into the warmth of sleep. You are safe. You are calm. You are deeply, deeply at peace. The journey is over. The story has ended, but your rest is only beginning. And here, in this moment, you are free to let go completely, knowing that nothing is required of you, nothing is expected of you. The world will wait. Tonight belongs only to rest. And so, with the stars above you, the earth beneath you, and the quiet of the night surrounding you, drift into sleep. Deep, nourishing sleep, the kind of sleep that restores you, comforts you, and carries you into dreams that are soft, endless, and kind. Sleep now, sleep deeply, sleep peacefully. And if this journey through history has brought you calm, if it has carried you gently toward rest, you may wish to return again. You may subscribe to wander through more relaxing history sleep stories, each one a quiet passage into dreams. But for now, there is nothing to do but sleep. The journey is complete. The city fades into dreams. You are safe. You are calm. You are deeply, deeply at peace. Sleep now. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully.